Okay, welcome to Let's Know Buffalo. This is our first official guest today. We have Lindsey Cruz, the founder of 95 Nutrition. Welcome. Appreciate
Hello.
you having a...
Hold your applause, please.
Well, greatly appreciate you taking out some time out of your busy day and joining us for this conversation about entrepreneurship and how you're dominating Western New York.
You said there'd be wine, so
You got some wine.
I'm here.
So, we've got wine. There'll be some swearing. There'll be some great stories, and hopefully some lessons learned about owning and running and operating a business.
Yeah, I'm. Thank you so much for being here. And you guys go way back.
We do.
I don't know you at all.
I don't even know how far back.
Well, why
Not
don't you,
like
why don't you
that
tell
far
that
back.
story? Because
It's not like
I'm
we were
so
childhood
curious.
friends.
You're so recognizable now.
No.
Yes, you
Don't
know,
say.
and it's so. So I'm so curious because I don't know your story, and I even tried to find. Is there a picture of her without red hair somewhere? And I don't think there is.
I will say,
You gotta go in hard.
I
scroll,
don't think there
'cause I haven't
is.
deleted them.
when we sat down and talked about doing this, Joe immediately said, like, I need your friend Lindsey on here. I am fascinated by everything she does.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Who is Lindsey Cruz, and like where did you come from? Are you from
Where
Buffalo?
did I come
originally?
from? A
Yeah.
whole nother planet. I'm telling you.
Some people may
What goes
believe
on
that.
up here? It's a whole nother planet. So I don't know. Where do you want me to start?
Are you born and raised in Buffalo?
Born and raised in Buffalo.
What part
Grand
of Buffalo?
Island.
Grand Island.
Born and raised. Everybody on Grand Island likes to say they're going to leave Grand Island. They don't ever leave.
Yeah,
You could
that's true.
try.
I will
but you'll
say,
always be
doing
back.
some real estate
Yeah.
transactions recently on Grand Island,
There's something in the water.
that's exactly what I was going
Yep,
to say.
I agree, but I wouldn't.
If
be
you're
any
not
other
from
place.
there and you go there, I feel like you're judged the second you step onto the island.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, who are you and why are you here?
Absolutely. It's
And
like
why
it's
don't
like it's
you
on
live
your
here?
forehead
100%.
for sure. I grew up on Grand Island. I bought a house 1 mile down the road from where I grew up, so
Wow.
I haven't gone far.
Wow.
I love the river. Love to live on the river, and that's where I'll always be.
So
Blessing and a curse.
what? Obviously, your industry is food, meal prep, and fitness, right? What came first for you? Was it the fitness journey or was it the entrepreneurial journey?
Well, my father was an entrepreneur my entire life, which is interesting because I never thought, he never pushed me in the direction of being an entrepreneur, which I find fascinating. But now in hindsight, I can see he worked so hard, so hard. I don't ever think he wanted that kind of life for me. Like
It's not easy, right?
We'd
Like,
be
it's-
at Christmas Eve at the shop embroidering varsity jackets.
What did he? So he
He was
had
a screen printer, embroidery, trophies, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And we'd be there at like midnight on Christmas Eve. And he's like, I got to deliver these coats. I told these people that Santa was going to bring these coats. So he worked so hard to provide us a wonderful, just middle class life. Worked really hard. And I think he wanted different for me. So he never pushed me to be an entrepreneur, nor did I ever really think I would be one. He said, go to college and get a degree.
Really?
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
had that conversation. That's what, for so long it was.
Because he had something from ECC, an associate's degree maybe, but he thought that's the American dream. That's what you're brainwashed to believe. Go to college, get a degree, and you're going to be successful.
And it's funny, even
Don't go to
being an
college.
entrepreneur, pushing your kids to do that, right? Like, that's just what our parents,
Yep.
right?
Yep, I
pass
agree.
down and-
Thanks for the advice, Dad, but I thought I was going to be a marine biologist. Okay, I went for biology.
So
Is marine biologist like top 5 on
Oh,
what
my-
little kids say?
Yeah, but
when
like
they're
you got to
asked.
think about that. When you're 18, you are a little kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
You
100%.
really
yep.
are, and you don't recognize it till you get older. But we're asking these kids to come out of high school and pick a career.
Yeah.
Right.
Me
And
at
get into
18,
huge
pick a
debt
career. I was
from it.
slinging drinks at Quote nightclub, riding
That's
motorcycles,
incredible.
spending all my tip money on stupid stuff. And you want me to pick what I want to do for the rest of my life? So I said, I'm going to be a marine biologist. Went to school, got a 4-year degree in biology,
Wow.
and I could use it as toilet paper. So
Yeah,
here we
I
are.
always say, even though that I did run a business, I don't know how much I learned from my business degree in college. Like, they just didn't teach you how to run a business, which was bizarre to me. But again, it wasn't,
So I even forget I have a bachelor's degree. That's how much it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you finished school?
I think I was a super senior because I wasn't great at school.
None of us were.
But my father was like, you either go to college and get a degree, because after my freshman year, I was like, this sucks. Fuck this. I don't like school. He said, okay, then you're going into the military. And I said, okay.
I'll finish school then.
I'll finish school. So I figured it out. And yeah.
So
I wouldn't recommend college to anyone who doesn't want to be. I'm sure you guys probably feel the same.
Sure.
Who doesn't want to be a
think
lawyer.
we had a
yeah, if there's a
conversation about
specified
that.
reason to do
Don't
that.
go to college.
Right.
Just don't. But yeah, 18-year-olds should not be picking what they're going to do for the rest of their life. Just
But
my
I
opinion.
also believe that there needs to be, and we talked about this before, some real life experience. Even if you choose to go to college, that's fine.
Yep.
But go find out what you don't want to do first,
Yeah.
right? Get some life experience. Because again, like you said, at 18, like what do you know? You know nothing.
Yes.
So you get out of school.
I get out of school. I meet a dentist. And I didn't meet him. I guess I was looking for a job, because I soon found out that more school wasn't the answer, and that, whale watching, making $14 an hour with a PhD is not going to pay the bills, nor pay back the debt that I would have accumulated, although it would have been a great career. Maybe I'll retire and do that when money doesn't matter.
Would you have been studying animals in Lake Erie, or was that?
Well, I didn't. That's the thing. You're a kid. You don't even think about this. I didn't realize that. What are you going to do with that degree here? You'd have to move to Florida or California, which are great places.
Sure.
But
Yep.
no thought process to that. I just listened to my dad. Go to college, get a degree. Not great advice. He gave me a lot of great advice along the way, but that was not one.
Here we have a largemouth bass. I'm
Yeah.
probably slandering the shit out of marine biology. I have no idea what they really do.
So I decided, okay, forget the college thing. I'm not going to be able to use this degree. I decided to go into the dental field, because I also did want to be a dentist at one point, but I wasn't great at school, so that wasn't an option. So I get a job as a dental assistant with this intense dentist. I'll leave his name out of it. So intense. When I got hired, all the other women in the office were like, I don't know how you're going to do it. This guy's intense. I'm like, please, I'm intense. He was intense. He taught me a lot of amazing lessons that at the time I was like, wow, this job sucks. He sucks. Why does it have to be this way? And one day I came into work and said, you know what? I'm just going to do everything he says, when he says it, how he says it, and see how that goes. And it was the best job I ever had. Really? This man taught me work ethic. He taught me discipline. And I owe him a lot, for sure.
That's awesome.
This dentist that I worked for. So that's important too, is kids get into the work field. I mean, I employ a lot of them, and they don't understand what hard work is.
Right.
And they fight it, and they don't want to conform. And I will tell you, I wouldn't be the entrepreneur that I am today without spending 6 years with that man, because
Well, it sounds like
whooped my ass with discipline.
That's one of the things we were talking about, almost getting beat up. You have to do that to learn how to work hard. Like you can't, nothing's going to be handed to you. You got to get, and if you don't know that, you have to get beat up a little bit. And then you can see like, oh, okay, there's no substitute for hard work, right?
None.
So you worked there for how many years?
6.
Okay.
And then I decided, I had a lot of turns in life, right? When you decide like, okay, this isn't it
it's life
either. I
experience, yeah.
love him. We're still friends to this day. Just a wonderful man. I'd consider him a second father figure when it comes to knowledge, life advice, and whatnot. But I decided, okay, this isn't going to pay the bills either. Because as a dental assistant, you're only ever going to be a dental assistant.
There's a ceiling.
And you're only valuable to that dentist. So yes, he could continue giving me wage increases along the way. He was very good to me, but eventually it's going to cap out. He's going to retire, and I'm going to be thrown back into the pool of looking to work for another dentist. So my husband suggested, at the time he was my boyfriend. That sounds weird.
How long have you
My
been married?
boyfriend. We've been together for 10 years. We've been married for going on 6.
Wow, okay.
Our anniversary is coming up. So he suggested, like, hey, you've always loved to cook. You're really good at it. Every time I would pack his meals, he was a state trooper at the time, and I'd pack him a healthy meal, and he'd take it to work, and someone said, you know what? I'd pay for that. Your wife does that? I'd pay for her to make me meals to eat, healthy meals to eat for lunch. And lo and behold, I mean, very few state troopers really spend money with us, but they gave us the idea.
What?
Wow.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but was there anything? Was that a service at the time, or
There was one person doing it.
okay? But I mean, just maybe all throughout the country, was it a thing? Because Buffalo always, is slow to adapt to
Yes.
almost everything.
I think
right?
it was going
Culture,
on out there, but you know what? When my husband came back with the idea and he's like, you could start a business. You need to make these meals. The state police said they'll buy them. I said, what do you mean? Their wives don't cook?
Sure.
Like, because I cook breakfast, lunch, dinner. I still do to this day. Yes, we incorporate 95 on days that I just don't feel like cooking, but it was like mind blowing to me that people don't cook.
Right.
I'm like, no one's going to buy this. Everybody cooks. Nobody cooks. Did you know that?
So there wasn't.
Nobody cooks.
So even at that moment, you didn't have this aha moment. You were
No.
like, no one's gonna want this.
No. And you know what? When I was younger, before I was told to go to college, I told my dad I wanted to be a chef. And he said, that's a terrible idea. You're never going to make any money doing that. So that was always the Thanksgiving, hey, Dad,
Well,
never make any money doing this, huh?
How interesting though, because like a chef is not necessarily scalable, and so your whole approach.
That's what I said. I'm from a whole
is-
different planet. I don't know how this even came together, but I decided to do it as like a cute part-time thing. I'm like, okay, we'll try it. I'm obviously not going to leave my job I've been at for 7 years and just dive into this, whole entrepreneur thing. Scary, right?
Yeah.
So I decided I'm going to try both. Well, that didn't last long. That did not last long. I ran myself ragged doing both, working the 9 to 5 and then doing the side hustle.
Were you selling outside of the troopers? Or,
Oh, yeah.
So
Yep.
okay, so you're doing the side hustle. It's
Yeah, I mean,
starting
we
to
could go
become
into
a
the
thing.
story, but it would take hours to tell. But basically, we started the business. We didn't even think we were going to start the business because we couldn't come up with the name. We fought for weeks about what the hell are we going to name this thing. So we got a couple state troopers, but mostly it was from our gym. We started advertising. I wish I could find it, man. It's embarrassing, our first flyer that we put out there. It's got to be around here somewhere. I'm sure Amanda could find it for me.
was it
but-
printed on like the home computer?
100%.
that's-
Little clip art graphics.
But that's,
and this is
there's
what we have
nothing
to
wrong with
offer.
that.
It was
Like
the
guerrilla
trifold.
marketing. I did the same thing.
Oh
like,
my God.
I didn't even have a
So
name when I first started
embarrassing.
my video game stores. It was just like
Yes.
buying all video games, my phone number, literally laminated and stapled to a fucking telephone pole on on every college campus in Buffalo.
Yes, and
was
that
it.
is what pisses me off the most is when people try and denote what I've accomplished, what my husband and I have accomplished by saying, "Oh well, someone gave her money, or she got a grant, or her family gave her money." Like
Hear it all the time.
I had
Brutal.
$500 to my name when we started this business, just enough to make our first grocery order for
And
our
the
first
fact
couple
that you
customers.
did that from that is just incredible, right? Like the
Yeah.
true American dream, and that's
But
again, I don't want to
people
sound
don't
corny.
want to. It's nice to be
No.
around people who understand because people don't want to
Yeah.
believe that. They want to believe it was something else because if that was the story and Lindsay really did this with $500 and a trifold shitty clip art flyer, well then you could probably do it too.
Right.
But you won't. So you make yourself feel better
Yeah.
by
And it's like
saying
only people who
someone
have
gave you
never
money.
done it before really have that attitude,
Yeah.
right? Anyone who's ever made it, you recognize other people who.
I
made
have to be
something.
yeah.
perfectly honest with you. Growing up and seeing people with money, I had the same shit attitude, right?
Oh,
You came from
me
money.
too.
Right.
You
Yes.
came from money.
Yes.
You got lucky. Like you were handed that
100%.
until I did it. And then you know how you get the speakers in
Yep.
high school and college and oh, we did so much hard work. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Like you're playing in the NFL, like, and then you look back and you're like, oh my God. Like I wholeheartedly believe now that when people say that I got lucky, like, no, I just worked. And the harder you work,
Yeah.
the luckier you tend to be.
And even
Yeah.
even there are some situations where, say, someone like inherits a business. Well, how many of those fail?
Oh, the rate
yeah.
is
So-
incredible.
so even-
I just had the opportunity to inherit my dad's business, and I was like, you know what? No, not every opportunity is for you, and that's another thing people need to recognize.
So I was a 95 Nutrition customer.
Yes, you were.
Before, and this is,
Kevin, the pizza wrap guy.
oh, I wanted to tell Joe. Joe is a pizza freak.
Okay.
Right? So when I first meet them, and I was already a customer of theirs, right? And I think I was probably a customer before I was a bachelor, right? Living the single life. And very quickly, tell him what my order constantly was.
The 25 pizza wraps. and that is
That
it.
was my meal
And
prep.
we'd look at the order, and my husband and I would be like, who is this weirdo who lives in this very nice neighborhood? Because we're delivering it to his house. And
All
all
pizza
he
wraps.
wants to do is The pizza wraps.
Oh, that's amazing.
Dude, you could eat them cold. You could eat them heated up.
I
So
just-
I would take pizza wraps
Still have 'em.
and grab them. And on the go, they were always in the car. And when I needed food, pizza wraps.
I wanted to wait till later to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it now. How is there so much protein in the pizza wrap?
It is the crust. So
'Cause
it is
it's
a
so good.
secret proprietary crust that we use that's cauliflower based.
really?
But there is like, don't quote me, 27 grams or almost 30 grams of protein just in
In
that
the crust. I just had one yesterday.
Yeah. People ask
that's
all the
always
time,
been,
where do you get them? Nope, not telling you, man. It's a secret.
I love the
That's
OG
amazing,
ones. The
though.
original ones were like,
On the-
those were my
That
favorite.
business went out of business, and I tried
I
to buy their
know.
recipes, and they wouldn't sell them. Oh, we're going to reopen. We're going to reopen. 8 years later, where
That's
you at?
wild.
25 pizza wraps.
Every single week. They would,
Incredible.
I
Who's
remember
this
like
guy?
the first time I think I was like, oh, do you need my address? And Carmen was like, nope, I know exactly where you live. And I'm like,
You're the pizza wrap guy.
how do you know where I live? I'm like, oh, you used to deliver the wraps to my house at like 6 a.m. on Saturday or
yeah.
Sunday morning? Like,
Hell yeah, we did, because
Yep.
you do what you can with what you have. We didn't have any money to hire
Yeah.
employees,
Right.
so we were the employees.
so you did
Well,
all the jobs. You did the
Yes,
cooking. You
all
did the
jobs.
cleaning.
I'd
You
be
did
like,
the
oh, hold
deliveries.
on,
You did the advertising.
you need to speak to customer service? Hi, thank you for calling 95 Nutrition.
That's awesome. I love
Like,
that.
I'm the owner.
That was
I'm
my
customer
favorite. Whenever
service.
a bill
I'm
collector called, right? Like, oh, we'd like to speak to the billing department, like accounts receivable, payable, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, please hold. And then I would literally do the same thing and pick up.
It's funny because I'll still answer the phone for the business. I'm little. I don't like the phone to be answered. That's like one of those neurotic things that the phone has to get answered. How are you
yeah,
going to make
sure.
money if it doesn't get answered?
Yeah.
So if the customer service department is not available, it will kick through to my phone. I'll answer it. I don't
Oh,
care.
I'd love to be a fly
And-
on that wall when your phone rings and you see that number
Oh,
coming
first
up,
it's
knowing
like,
nobody
answer
else
the
is.
fucking phone. 95 Nutrition, how can I help you? And I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 times, the customer will go, Lindsay? I'm like,
Yep.
hi, it's me, because we ain't missing this money, baby. We're
That's
answering
awesome.
the phone. So, I mean, it's that dog mentality. You know, you're never too good to do any of the
Yeah.
jobs in your business. Do you want to necessarily? No, but I don't forget where I came from. I was
Right.
every single hat my employees, when they see me do something like plate food or help them in the kitchen, you know how to do that? Who the fuck do you think did this
Yeah.
before you did it?
Right,
This
yep.
girl right here.
Wow.
So
And when you lose that, then you're going to lose your business, right?
100%.
Like if
Yes.
you constantly, again, and sometimes it's, you got to check yourself, right?
Yep.
Like you get on your pedestal and you're like, I'm not doing that. Like, yeah, you sure are. Because when
Yeah.
that employee doesn't show up, or when there's a snowstorm, or when the power's gone out, and you got to strap it back on and get in the weeds again,
yeah,
it's your
Been in
business,
some
right?
weeds, man. Yeah.
What I'm fascinated with 95 Nutrition specifically is when I first heard of you guys, there was a couple other places.
Yes.
And one place, which was the first one I ever heard of, the food was so bad. Like they used to have like chopped up zucchini and squash, and they weren't even cooked. It was like crunch. It was just so bad. And then you came out of like what I thought was left field. Like I ate a garbage plate this morning that
That's
you
still
guys
on the
made.
menu.
Right. So that's the sort of thing. Like how did you come up with the recipes themselves, and also how are they still, healthy? Is it the portion control? Is it the
Portion
ingredient?
control. So I was big into fitness. I found fitness
Was?
when, I mean,
Was?
not like I used to be.
I don't know.
So-
You're looking pretty good these days.
Well, thank you. I mean, you can't sell health food if you're 400 pounds. Unpopular opinion, but you got to practice what you preach. And at the gym, women would approach me and say, "Oh my gosh, you look great. What kind of diet are you doing?" And it dawned on me that people are going to the gym and they're putting in all this hard work, but they're not eating the right foods
Always
or the
my
right
downfall,
amount of foods.
right
Like, why
here.
would you even why do you go to the gym
I would go to the
then?
gym, run 5 miles, lift,
And then eat like a
hours,
slob.
and then eat
Yep.
like shit, 100%.
Yep.
And I had no idea. I did not understand the food part and the chemistry part of.
Yes.
I was a football player, basketball player, baseball player. Like we went to the gym, we worked out,
Yeah.
and then all right, you take a protein shake, and that was it, right? Eat whatever you want.
Yep, and you were 20, so you got
Right.
away with that. Now you
100%.
don't get away with it.
No.
So it was that moment that I realized that people don't know how to eat or how much to eat, and especially for women, the internet makes it so complicated. So complicated. You got to cut cheese out, and you got to eat paleo and Mediterranean diet and low carb and high fat, and it's not that complicated. And that's what I wanted to bring to the market, to empower. I mean, we're 80% women at 95 Nutrition customer base, probably because it's a female-owned company, but teaching women that, hey, you just need to eat less.
Right.
It's not that complicated. So all of our dishes, sure, if you had a larger portion, you'd be gaining weight, not losing weight, but we teach you how to eat less food. So you're still getting the pastas, the cheeses. We keep them low sodium. We don't use butter. We don't deep fry because that jacks the calories right up. But we teach you how to eat less. I mean, most women come to the meal prep and they look and they, well, this is never going to fill me up. Well, have you tried?
Right.
We're just so, as Americans, used to being slobs, just like
I think
eating
that's-
until we explode. And
We
it's
talked
like,
about that before. Like, you put a pizza in front of me, and if I'm the only one eating it, I'll go
Yeah.
till I can't go anymore. But if you put one slice in front of me and I eat the slice, and when I'm done 5 minutes later, I'm full and I don't think about
yes,
it.
if you
right?
knew that was the only slice you were getting,
100%, yeah,
you're fine.
absolutely.
And is there something to the macros specifically with your meals? Because like the protein is so high
Yes.
in your meals that I feel like, okay, a 500-600 calorie meal might not hold me over if I just have like a slice of pizza or just some pasta or
So
something
smart.
like
Do you
that.
want a job? You want a job?
But when I looking at your labels, like at first, just like you said, someone might think
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not going to fill me up.
Yeah.
And 500-600 calories. If you were at a restaurant and they list the calories, and most of the meals are like 1,000 calories, the thing
Even a
that's like
salad.
500, you'd be like, well, I'm not going to get that. I'm gonna be starving. But your meals are different, and the protein's like off the chart.
High
like,
in protein
like 40
keeps you
to
fuller
60.
longer. Fuller longer. Obviously, it's great for your muscles, but even if you're not going to the gym, protein keeps you fuller longer.
And so, is it anything to do with the body chemistry that higher protein, or is it simply just that fact that you're going to be fuller longer, you're going to eat less?
Correct.
That's it.
I mean, I'm no doctor. I do have a
But-
4-year
but
degree,
that's-
but
But that's the concept. But what just again going back to these other places, the one in particular which is no longer around, like they were being healthy,
yes.
and therefore the food was terrible. It wasn't even cooked right though.
Well, and
but-
that's why people don't succeed when they lose weight, because you're expecting a person who eats whatever they want when they want in excess to all of a sudden eat chopped zucchini and plain chicken.
not cooked right. Yeah, it's
It ain't
disgusting.
it. You're never going to succeed. So we just ask, first and foremost, try and eat less. Let's
It's
try
just
that.
so simple.
And I lost 60 pounds after I had my son, because, man, when I was pregnant, I had no off switch. No off switch. So I gained 60 pounds, lost it, and kept it off, simply because I eat anything and everything I want. I'll go through the McDonald's drive-thru. I'll order the double quarter pounder, but I'm eating half of it. yeah. What is it, number 3? But now they have like 3A, 3B. I'm a huge fast food person. I am definitely not one of those chicks that's
Okay.
like, oh my God, like fast food makes me sick, man. I am down.
Is that
You
your
wanna
go-to
get
fast
fast
food, the
food?
double quarter pounder? Yeah. Someone once turned me on to getting, if you get a regular cheeseburger at McDonald's, extra onion. Those little McDonald's
little things?
onions. They're because they're not even onion, right? I don't know what they are, but they're magical.
It was McDonald's with my son and Wendy's with my daughter when I was pregnant with her. And I'll tell you, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put a ball cap on. I'm going to go through the drive-thru. Nobody's going to know it's Lindsey from 95 Nutrition. I roll up to the window and they're like, yo!
It didn't
They're
help you pulled up in your
outside
fucking Lamborghini.
taking
Like,
pictures. It was the Rolls Royce, but they come out of the Wendy's facility and start taking pictures. I'm like,
That's
well, why
hilarious.
didn't you just take
That's
a picture of me
hilarious.
eating this? But
What was the go-to Wendy's order?
it was the Baconator.
The bacon. You go all in.
I went hard when I was pregnant, man. Oh, those were some good eats. They will never be the same, for sure. But that is how I lost the weight and kept it off, is just eating what you want, just eating less, a lot less.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you, I've been a real estate agent for almost 20 years, and
I don't know how you guys do it.
well, what's real estate? Just like you said in the beginning of your business, you have to wear all the hats, right? So to grow and expand, you have to hire people and treat it more like a business instead of a salesperson. So one of the things I struggled with was when you're doing all the jobs yourself, you're keeping all the money, right? And if you're living off that money, the idea of like hiring someone, like how
When I see my payroll, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. So how you went from delivering everything yourself, and now you have how many locations?
13.
13 between here and Rochester. Yes. What was there a specific tipping point where you recognized, okay, we need to really expand, or else we're not going to survive? Like, what was a point where you recognized, like, you had to make a big change to blow this thing up?
It blew up on me, and I had to scramble to save the ship and hire. And I mean, I'll work all night. If I promised you're getting that food, I pulled all-nighters, like literally closing up the kitchen at 6 o'clock in the morning and loading it onto the truck for my husband to deliver, all by myself.
And you were working out of a church to start, is that correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A commissary church kitchen. Yeah, it was brutal. But to be honest and transparent, it blew up on me, and I had to scramble. But I'd do anything to make it work. I still, to this day, will. I'll stay up all night. I don't care. I'm not too good for it. In fact, I thrive in those conditions. I think that's a personality trait of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Is like, I don't even realize how heavy it is on my back at all. If you took it off, I'd probably be like, whoo, all right, that's good. But I thrive in chaos. And I think that's an important trait that you need to have in order to be.
I don't think enough people have that, right?
No, but there's a difference between cute entrepreneurship and technically we're all still really cute. When you compare us to like, man, you want to feel poor, go to Naples, man.
Yeah, right.
Woo!
Yes.
Definitely feeling poor.
That's a life check every time.
Yes.
I'll be going there next week, Monday, and I will be coming back and
working a little bit harder.
That's pretty much it.
Yep, but there's levels to entrepreneurship, and I think that there is the level where you don't have to have that dog mentality, and that's, hey, I work for myself. I'm an electrician. I take the jobs I want.
Sure.
Yeah.
I make enough money to pay the bills, but once this started to take off, and money didn't matter anymore, it became a game. Like, let's just see how big we can make this.
Right. But to get to that point, you had to utilize leverage and hire people, right? And you grew up watching your father, who worked all the time, and probably didn't have the same type of leverage you have now, right?
So when I told him what my weekly payroll is, he about fell over.
Right.
Because that was
like
probably
a salary.
his yearly
payroll.
So
did you have was there anything that you looked to help you realize the importance of leverage? Because you can't, there's so many people with businesses, and in real estate, we see it a lot with contractors. Someone who's amazing, and their business, they're at that point, like you said, it forces them, they need to start hiring people.
Yep.
And they don't, or they do it wrong. And next thing you know, you don't refer them anymore because
they just
they're
crumble.
no
The business
show.
falls apart, right?
So how did you recognize what you needed to do, and how did you succeed at that?
figure it out. Trial and error. Trial and error. I hire like-minded. Our core staff is so like-minded to my husband and I. They are the hardest workers. They will do anything that needs to be done to get the job done. And so loyalty is above all to me. You have to be a loyal person.
And when you have the locations, the amount, the size, the
Yep.
volume, I mean, the people that you hire are so crucial.
Yes.
Right?
And you could pay them whatever. Yeah, I take very good care of my people, especially the ones that sit right next to me every day. But sometimes it doesn't matter what the cost is. Some
Right.
people, you could give them $1 million and they wouldn't want to get the job done.
But they need to believe in you as a leader and
Yes.
the mission, right?
Correct.
Moving forward and
Yep.
what you're providing, right? If you don't believe and enjoy and respect the business, the companies, the owners, your boss, it all falls apart, right?
Yep.
No matter how much money I'm going to pay you.
Correct. So if you're not a hard worker here, you ain't gonna
Right.
make it. And I think that's how we figured it out, is hiring like-minded, hard-working people that will do anything to get the job done.
They'll
So
take ownership
we're-
of the job
like
that you give them.
It's not even about the money at that point.
Yeah.
It's just getting this job done. And you know what? I wholeheartedly believe that the people who come with us on this journey long term, everybody's going to be millionaires, because I'll be damned if they aren't. We've worked too hard at this to not see everyone succeed.
That's amazing.
And paying it back is huge to me, because I couldn't be where I am today without that core staff.
Sure.
You can't do it on your own. I think
Right.
that was a tough one for me to swallow, is that I can't do it all on my own.
Right.
Because, man, it would have been nice to do 5, 6, 7 million and put it all in your pocket, right?
Right.
Not pay anybody. That'd be
Right.
amazing. But you can't do
Can't
it on
do
your
it.
own.
Yeah,
You
there'll
ju-
be
all-
limitations. You could have done that. You could
Yeah.
have one location. You
Yep.
could have done it yourself. You could have made your $100,000 a year.
Yep.
And some people are okay with that, right? And then
Yeah.
you
And
have.
to be honest, I
hey,
felt
let's times this by 10.
way
Let's
wealthier
times-
when I was making $100,000
Yeah.
a year. Seriously.
I've said that so much.
When we had that M4, I was like, man, we made it. We made it. Yeah. And now it's like, whew. I always tell people when they like feel a type of way about what my husband and I have, I'm like, come spend 1 week with me. And I promise you, you will not only leave crying, you will be like, you know what? I don't want that Lambo. I don't want that
Sure.
Rolls Royce. I
Because
want to
of
go
the
back
sacrifice
home and work my 9 to 5.
Right. The trade-off for that is what? Like, you're seeing the nice car, but you're not
Yes.
seeing what am I sacrificing? What have I done? All these things that go along
Mm-hmm.
with that.
And my father always used to say, there's a lot easier ways to make money.
Yeah.
And there are, man. I wish I could invent something. Inventors.
What if was there in your expansion of this and you're continuing to grow? I'm assuming there's no plans to stop this anytime soon.
I mean, if Oprah wants to come and offer me a solid bill, you know, I'd sell to Oprah.
what is your long-term plan of what you want this to look like?
Launch nationally.
domination.
That's it. Kevin, no, that's it, man. I used to like, you know, not sweat, but I used to care about the local competition, man. We're light years ahead, and I mean that in the nicest way
Yeah.
possible. You know, you're always 10 steps behind. You're stealing our marketing ideas, our cooking ideas. You just,
Yeah.
it's okay to not be number one, but it's not okay for me to not be number one. Like, I want to be the biggest in the nation, and I believe that we can do it. I 100%
That's
believe we
amazing.
can. Is it going to happen overnight? No. Should I take investor money? Probably.
Right.
Probably get there quicker, but man, I don't like to owe anybody anything.
Sure.
And that stubbornness will probably get the best of me.
Well, we see that a lot in real estate, right? Like with my rentals,
Yeah.
I can use my money or I can use investors.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done both. And you can tend to expand a lot quicker with investors.
Yes.
But also, they take a bigger piece of the pie. And in my last business with the video game stores, I was very similar. I got to 6 locations, and I had investors want to invest, and I just buckled down and I said, no, I'm going to do it myself,
Yeah.
right? So again, I can see both sides of it.
So that is the short answer, is total world domination. I want to be the biggest, the baddest meal prep service. I want to help people across this country lose weight. Because, man, we got a problem here in the U.S.
You posted something on your Instagram that I thought was so cool. Is this the case still that your meals qualify for the EBT card?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes,
How
it
did-
was thank you, Amanda. It was such a process to get approved for EBT you would not believe. Like, you can buy diet
Yeah,
Pepsi,
that's
regular
wild, right.
Pepsi, all
Chips,
this
cookies,
bullshit on
junk.
EBT, but you can't get a healthy prepared meal. So we
wild.
fought them, I say we, but Amanda fought them tooth and nail, one of my managers, to get us EBT approved. And I wish more people knew about it. My husband grew up on welfare. He said that a lot of times there wasn't really anything in the fridge because you got food to cook, and they were kids. They didn't cook. Their mom was at work. So having that prepared meal ready to go that your kids can have after school and whatnot, that makes me proud of what we're doing to know that we can reach everybody, because not everybody can afford meal prep. That's
That's
for sure.
amazing.
But
That's such an
having a
amazing
healthy
thing.
option for people, it makes my heart warm. My little Grinch heart. It's so warm right now.
Well, it's such a crazy thing that like you had to make an announcement about that. It's crazy to think you couldn't do that. They couldn't use the EBT
No.
card for a healthy prepared meal. Like that's such a wild thing that it had to be such a hard thing for you to accomplish.
It's New York State, man.
Yeah.
Oh, we could do a whole nother podcast about New
Yeah.
York State. We'd be here for a
That's
while.
another
running
episode.
a business in New York State.
Well, I always say if you can do it here,
You can do it
anywhere.
if you can do it in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
Oh my, we're such a depressed area financially, and our meals should be selling for $13, $14. That's what national competitors are
I was
selling.
going to say probably elsewhere,
But
right?
it's just so depressed here, and the market exploded. All these places popped up, and yeah, I mean we're seeing our way out of it, but nationally is where we want to head because there's only so much you can do in Buffalo, New York. But if you do it in Buffalo, New York, the capital of chicken wings, beer, and all things bad for you, man, and we're still thriving here. So,
And you're bringing a healthy option out there and thriving.
yeah, still amazes me to this day.
So what I want to know is, we're going to move this a little personal here, and I guess it's probably business. I'm going to assume that it's going to take that turn. The red hair.
What about it? I don't know what you're talking about.
America wants to know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What made you go red?
Sometimes in public, I'm still like, why is everyone staring at my hair? Because it's just been like that for so long. So when we started 95, everybody knew me at the gym, but I had brown hair, blondish brown. And I'm like, how do I get recognized by everyone? What could I do? Oh, well, you know, I could release a sex tape like Kim Kardashian.
Jesus.
I probably don't want to go down that route. My dad would be really disappointed. Okay, so scratch that idea. What else can we do to get recognized big time by everyone? I said, I'm going to dye my hair.
That was really the thought process?
Yes.
That's
On God.
wild to me.
On
Have
God.
you ever thought about not having it red?
I said when we get to 50 million in sales, I'll dye it. We're not there
Well,
yet.
now everybody knows.
Yeah, they'll know. There'll be signs. There'll be signs. But I'm sick of it. Everybody still loves it. I wish I had a little more freedom, but
Honestly, it's brilliant. I mean,
Well,
it
thank
is
you.
such a brand.
my husband was like, "You're gonna do what?" I said, "Damn
Like,
right, I'm gonna do it."
Wow.
Again, it's your brand.
Well, no one
right?
ever remembered the blonde-haired chick
Sure.
who owns a meal
Because
prep
there's
service.
so right there. It's so recognizable, and to be able to market that and come up with that, it's almost like a niche, right?
Well, you got to have thick skin too, man.
Oh,
'cause
I can't even.
Well, like you
imagine.
said, you're gonna get the looks,
Oh, yeah.
regardless of if they know who you are. or
whenever
not.
we
Like,
release an ad for 95, all the comments, and they're all from men too. Oh, look at this AI robot. What the hell's wrong with her hair? It's Wendy from Wendy's. It's Ronald McDonald. But you know what? It works.
it probably fuels you.
It does. You know what? I just don't care. I got
Wait,
to a
one of my
point-
favorites is, what do you call them? What do you call them? The people.
The
that are-
fans.
the fans.
The fans. You're either a friend or a fan.
You know, I recently had a video. I'm not going to say it went viral by any means, but you know, I recently, over the last 6 months, got in front of the camera a little bit on social media, and people were. I'm just mind blown. Like these keyboard warriors, and Lindsay's like, "Congratulations,
You made it, baby.
You've got a fan," and I'm like,
got a fan.
"All right, okay."
go
I
with
still
the
motherfuck the
fans
shit out
pay
of
the
them in the
bills. The
comments.
fans pay the bills because they share and they comment.
Yeah.
And as long as you have thick skin and you know you're not going to go home and cry yourself to sleep, man, they pay the bills.
The more comments and the more right, like social media.
Yeah, it's gonna keep
yeah.
it going and going.
Yeah,
And
so-
all of a sudden you're hitting 50,000 views and 100,000 views, and it snowballed. And I'm like, well, that's social media, right? Feeding right into it.
So that's where
The
the red
more
hair's from.
controversial you can be, you know, sometimes that's unfortunately the better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's brilliant marketing. I think it's super recognizable. And again, we understand that you've got a great product, but we were talking before that even if you didn't have a great product, there's a lot of shitty businesses out there that do incredible branding and marketing, and you don't realize until it's too late.
Yes.
But because they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and they've got a recognizable name that you see on every commercial and flyer and billboard, right? But I mean, I see your truck drives by me, boop, there's the red hair, and it's like,
That's the thing. You guys do both. You do a great job with building the brand and marketing with a really good product
But
you can
wanna
stand
know what
behind.
The key to success is in this business. Take notes, okay? Customer service.
sure.
Yeah.
Taking care of our customers, man. I truly love our customers. I'll go out to a store and people will be hugging me, and I love it because people can spend their money anywhere. I know how hard we all work for our money. I know how hard someone doing a blue collar job, how hard they work for their money, and for them to choose to spend it with my company, I'm honored.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to make sure that it's a good experience for you and that it's everything you wanted it to be. And I think we've done a great job at that, and that's what keeps people long term.
And I think that's why you can see, right? That's why you're successful, is that statement right there. Like,
Yeah.
I will
it
do
just comes
anything
down-
for our customers.
Yeah.
They know it too.
And
I
not
don't
a
even
lot of
have to
places-
edit this.
I don't care what
They
industry
know
you're
it.
in, they won't, right? Like, and you get to a point where it's like, oh, well, it's it's one customer, like, right? Like, oh, it's just one.
I wish I
negative
could get
review.
to that point, man. I will come
Don't-
to your
but don't-
house
don't,
if you
right.
leave me a 1-star
No,
review.
and
Yeah,
that's
don't
why
you
you'll
feel
be,
like
yeah, that's why you'll
you can
continue to be
have
successful in
hundreds-
any industry that you're in, from here to whatever the next thing is, right?
Do you feel the same way too? Like, you could have hundreds of compliments and great reviews, and if there's one person that thinks you fucked something up, that eats away at me. Like, if they really feel like I didn't do a good job.
Oh yeah.
like,
Well, my dad
I
always
need
said
to make that
it's,
right.
it's your name on the business.
Yeah.
So I don't care if one of my sales associates motherfucked you and you left me a 1-star review. Like, that's on me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's, I didn't
Yes.
do it, but they did, and that's on me.
Right.
When I had my retail
Yes.
locations, I took every negative review
Yeah.
so personal.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, I would stew on it. And if they came in at night, like, it was like a sleepless night, and I went into the store the next day and fucking heads were rolling because, like, and it was like, get on the horn, find out who that customer is, what the problem was, and how do we fix it.
And that's the seed, I think, of great customer service. You really care.
Yes.
You know, we don't want to keep you all day.
I
Just-
do have
just
to ask you guys a question.
Sure.
I'm going to flip it on you guys. How do you do it as real estate agents? Because I am so competitive. When Kevin and Jeremy tried to explain to me how the real estate community works, I'm like, how do you do it? How do you
Which
be
aspect?
competitive but
Oh, right,
get
right.
along
Be
with
friendly,
each other?
yeah.
Because man, I am ruthless.
The difference is you have to work with another agent on each transaction.
That's what Kevin was saying. But like,
So-
how do you become the best?
Well, listen, there's plenty
Well,
of competitive juices that are flowing, right? Like sales goals and being a top 100 agent, and right there's 4,000 plus real estate agents in just our little area of Western New York.
Yeah.
And what's the stat? What's the percentage of the top? Right, like the top 5% or 1% does 99% of all the deals.
Yeah.
Right.
With an 87% failure
I
rate.
just feel like it would be like me going into my competitor's place to buy a meal. You wouldn't catch me dead doing that.
Right. We've talked about that. It's completely different.
I
I
couldn't
even
do
said,
it.
like, when I had my video game stores,
Yeah.
Play and Trade, which was a national chain franchise, moved in across the street. And I was like, motherfucker, let's get it on. Like, I am going to do everything I can to put you out of
Yes.
business. Right?
Yes.
And that's not, right?
I
being real
don't.
estate
I can't do
agents.
it. I
Some
couldn't do it.
people have the mentality that you have and bring it into a business like this. And what tends to happen is they either don't make it or they make it and they make enemies with all their other the agents
Mm-hmm.
you have to work with, which really hurts you. It makes your business harder because, I mean, we're talking like there's people that other agents won't show listings if that's the listing agent because they know that it's going
I
to be a
wouldn't
pain
make
in
it
the
a day
ass.
in real
But
estate.
also-
They'd be like,
You
get
know,
this bitch out
like,
of here.
So sometimes, so for me, what the thing, because it is difficult when you see other people's numbers or their income if they're more than yours and you're like, man, that should be me. We were talking earlier. I think with success, there's two different things going on. Which we were just saying about your business, right? There's the skill aspect of it. Do you have a quality product, right? And in real estate, that means like, are you really representing your clients? Are you looking out for their best interest? You know, do you really know if I have a client that says, Joe, I don't want to buy this house anymore. I want to get out. You know what? My job is to get them out of that deal, which means no money for me. But I give
Yeah.
a shit about my client.
And
Are you
that's your-
good at
that's-
that?
That's customer service.
Right.
Right.
Are you?
Like,
Yeah,
are you
that's
do you
definitely
have
customer
that?
service.
But also the marketing side of things, getting your name out there. That's a whole different avenue with success. And with real estate, it's such a personal business, though. Like for me, I got to the point where, like, if you're gonna list your house and you're gonna call Kevin and not me, that I don't ever look at that like I lost a customer. I never had that customer. You
Oh my
guys
God.
have that relationship.
I'd be like,
That's-
you're dead to me.
Yeah, that to me.
Catch one of my friends posting about another meal prep service. You're dead to me. Sorry.
When I
Not
started in
sorry.
real estate, I used to take it personal.
Loyalty,
but
baby.
I didn't also understand that because there's 4,000 nutrition places, i.e., real estate agents,
Right.
Yes.
There's
right,
so
to
many.
choose from, that there's other relationships. And unfortunately, in this industry, a lot of
get there.
people will go to Aunt Sally and Uncle Mike and their best friend, right,
Yes.
and whoever that
Yes.
is. And even though they're not the best at their job, they will be shunned from the family because they didn't use, right? Like it's
I almost got
but-
kicked off the island for using you as my agent. They almost ousted me.
Well,
said you can't live here anymore. You've got an agent that's not from
and that's
Grand
the thing.
Island.
That's still kind of a thing, but
But also, what I will say is to provide a client the best customer service, you need to get along with the other side and have a relationship. And that relationship
Yeah.
brings the
That is the
customer
key.
service
I'll give you-
That is the key.
through the roof.
Yep.
Because
so
the
we've both
smoother
had
the
this
deal-
happen. I bet. Say there's multiple offers. I represent a buyer. I have gotten offers accepted from my buyers not being the highest offer because of
the
my
relationship.
reputation as well. They know Joe's client's golden because Joe doesn't work
Yeah,
with
and if
people
you're
that
an
aren't.
asshole real estate agent and
Right.
you're not good at your job and you make things difficult, I'm going to tell my client, hey, listen,
This deal might not close
Yep.
because that person
and
sucks.
I'm looking out for my client.
Yeah.
Because we've got a difficult
So
person
there's
on the
that
other end.
aspect.
it's a collab.
It
100%.
has
Yeah.
to be if you want to be successful
It's like a
and
Gucci
happy.
Adidas collab. Like you both sell clothes, but we're collabing on this right now to make big bucks.
That's the way it should be. But there are definitely those people that
Yeah, I
want
mean,
to
there's
fight.
plenty
But-
of competition,
And there's
right?
people
Like-
who get, like you said, like, oh my God, you used him, you're dead to me. And I understand that. But what you
but they
said
shouldn't
about.
be in real estate.
But I will say at
Well-
the higher level, right, our brokerages, and I'm not going to name any, but the big time brokerages at the top, the owners of those, I'm sure that they're gunning for all the others, right? We're just kind of
Sure.
I don't want to say we're employees because we're not employees, but we're 1099.
Well, we're the ones out there in the field,
100%.
working
Yeah.
together. But what you said about if your employee tells someone to F off, right? You take that like that's on me.
Yeah.
That's how your mentality is. That's the same thing with me. If someone steals a client from me, the first thing I would always say is, did that person steal that client from me, or did I lose that client? Have I been in touch with that person? Have I had a
Yeah, it takes a
relationship
lot
with
of
them?
self-reflection
so
there and
I have to. That's
accountability.
on me, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not easy though.
All right. I just had to know because, man, I don't have any mercy for my competitors.
No, and listen, you're
That's
in the
God's
retail.
job,
I
baby.
came from the retail
God's
world,
job.
and with the customers and employees, I got to a point where I got tired of a client coming in and screaming at me over a $5 video game, and I was like, I don't need this shit. Like, if you want to scream at me over your $500,000 house, I'll take some shit because I'm gonna make a nice commission off of it. But if you're gonna yell at me about a $5 video game,
I don't
I'm
need
done.
this.
So going back to you, I don't know how you do it with, again, multiple
It's
locations.
very true.
and- right?
And that's
everything's got its
why-
shit.
Absolutely, because people will bitch about their
Yeah,
$7
absolutely.
steak, and you want to say like, "Man, you paid $7 for a steak," and you want to bitch about the quality. It was $7, but instead, you know what I said? That might have been the last $7 this person had,
Sure.
and they chose to spend it at my business. So you want to know what? I'm going to make it right to them because it's
Yeah.
the right thing to do.
Yeah. Last question I have for you:
Yes,
if you're on death row, you have to have your final meal
yes.
from any era. Could be something you can actually have or not. What would your last meal be? What would and you could eat anything in the world?
Double quarter pounder, baby.
Wow.
Diet
There you
Coke.
have it, folks.
Diet Coke. Extra large fry. Do they still do extra large? I always feel like bad at like. Do you guys still supersize? So I just leave it at the large.
They don't
I don't
supersize
know.
anymore.
I don't know, like, do you?
I think
I
that's
need
them
to
being
know.
health conscious as they got
I'm gonna
rid
have
of
somebody else
the
ask.
supersize. Well,
It
listen.
would absolutely be a double quarter pounder. Large fry,
Wow.
Diet Coke.
Amazing.
No dessert though. I don't do dessert.
Okay.
I don't like dessert.
You can have more room for the fries that way.
Absolutely. I'm eating the whole thing if I'm on death row, baby. We ain't portion controlling. Okay? All right.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
All right.
Well, let's wrap that up for today. Lindsay, thank you for being a part of this.
Of course.
Is there anything, your 95 Nutrition website? Give
Yeah.
yourself
What do you want
a-
to plug?
I mean, you said everybody knows me, but just in case
Kinda
you
do,
don't.
yeah. How about the
95
fans?
Nutrition, healthy prepared meals.
Instagram handle?
At the Lindsey Cruz, at 95 Nutrition. I mean, I'm pretty hard to miss on your feed. That's for sure. Be kind, and if you can't be kind, expect me to come for you.
You heard it here first. Well, that is our official first episode and our first guest, so thank you for being here.
Of course.
Yeah.
I like to be number
This
one,
is
so
awesome.
I couldn't pass this up.
Thank you.
My favorite number.